All right. We are live again. Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show with my guest Michael Patton over in California. He's got an awesome little town, fast growing town, great community, and he has just got a really cool story with how they work with leveraged partnerships and how they've turned around events and other stuff. And so he was also a winner of 30 under 30 in our PA. And so highly decorated park and rec director here. But how are you doing today, Michael?
No, I'm doing good, Craig. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah,
Exciting stuff here.
yeah. So maybe let's just start with your story and apologize for starting late. We had some technical difficulties per usual. Every show there's something going on technically. Um, but it's gonna be somewhat of a shorter show, but that's fine because we could probably do 3 or 4 episodes just with Michael and what he's doing. I really like to highlight how he's handling some of his special events. And I think it's just great ideas that we want to share across the country with our network of park and rec directors. Michael's got some great ideas that he's executed on. But let's start back to who you were as a high schooler. And the reason I'm saying this is because we really want to promote the show and the industry to high school kids that are undecided in their career path, their degree, and maybe they can see themselves in the young Michael that you're getting ready to tell us about.
No, yeah. Hey, thanks, Craig. Yeah, hopefully I don't scare people off from going to the Parks and Rec field with my story. But
Oh,
no, so I grew up in Bakersfield, California. It's Central California, about 400,000 people, big community. And growing up, I did all the youth sports, youth programs. I think I mentioned to you before, my dad owned the minor league baseball team that was down in Bakersfield. And
that's
so
right.
So yeah, I got access to all the games. I had free ice cream behind the home plate, and access to the locker room. So very unique childhood there in the summertime. Um, and so I was very involved with sports and the programming of it. And yeah, so graduated high school and went to college in Idaho. Way cheaper than it is in California to go to school. Got my degree in recreation management there. While in college, I was one of those college kids that had no idea what I wanted to do with my life.
Mhm.
Took all the career exploration classes, nothing stuck. And I had a brother who was also getting his degree in recreation management, and he got an internship for the Parks and Recreation Department in Bakersfield.
Mm.
And so when I was trying to figure out what I was want to do, I gave him a call, asked him about it, and what he liked about it, what he didn't like. And this was back in 2014, 2015. Minimum
Is
wage
he
in California
older
was
brother?
older brother, yeah.
And how did he stumble into this?
He was not doing well in college and tried to find something with the easiest classes to raise that GPA, and found recreation management. Is like, all right, this is our fun classes to do, and
Yep.
so trying to get that GPA up for grad school.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I asked him about his internship, and he was minimum wage in California was around $8 that time,
Mhm.
and he was making $15 for the Parks and Rec department to go to a new park each day, sit on a bench, and take notes what he saw happen at the park.
Wow.
And
What a
I thought
kid.
that was the coolest thing ever. Like that's the
Yeah,
dream job, right?
that's it.
hmm And so I knew that was my life goal: to get some lemonade, kick some feet up under a tree, and take a nap during the day and get paid to do it. But quickly you learn that's not the case in the field. So uh, declared my major for Parks and or Recreation Management, and got involved with special events for the university, for local communities. Helped out with some of the programming. Worked with the intramurals on campus.
Now, how
Um,
old were you then? You were still in college?
yeah, so I was 22, so I was a little bit of a late bloomer.
Mhm.
So right out of high school, I did 2 semesters in college, and then I went to start a 2-year church mission in Mexico City. And so I
Oh,
kind of took
wow.
a 2-year break from going to college, or kind of going the same path where all my college or my graduating class in high school was on.
How was
Um,
that 2 years in Mexico City?
it was an experience.
I bet.
Yeah, it
Did you know
became helpful.
Spanish?
It's been about 11 years. So I'm a little bit rusty,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you have questions about Jesus, I can go talk for days in Spanish. But no,
Fantastic.
But that was a great experience, especially at that young of an age to, you don't get that much culture or that much experience to go out and impact lives. We did a lot of service projects, helping others. So there's a lot of, humanitarian work that went into it. And then
You
coming
weren't
back.
you weren't an introvert by any chance, because that'll pull you out of your shell real quick.
So yeah, believe it or not, I am an introvert. I've been
Nice.
told, I have a switch that I can flick on and be the life of the party, but on my downtime, I hoodie, sweatpants on the couch, and
Yeah.
yeah, locked it on what's on TV. Um, but yeah, no, so yeah, went back to college at 21. Was a sophomore at that time, and graduated. I returned 23, my bachelor's,
Hmm.
22, 23. And then shortly after, this was again Southeast Idaho. Went to try to get my master's at Idaho State University. That was a 2-year program, got it done in 18 months. And then shortly after, kind of led to my career path outside of education.
Fantastic. All right. So so how did you get into working full time for Parks and Rec? When was your first gig for that?
So Parks and Rec, I started as a sports official, so the very ground level, part time. For my college degree, before you could do your internship, you had to do 400 hours of pre-internship, which was anything related to recreation you can do. So volunteer work at your local YMCA, or volunteer on campus for some special events. But I got a job as an official working for the YMCA, and then got a job at the same time working for the intramurals on campus. So I was able to kind of double dip there. So I did a lot of those part-time jobs, and then once I graduated, Southeast Idaho, there's not a lot of full-time Parks and Rec jobs. They're very
Right.
small communities, maybe 2 full-time positions, and when you graduate, you're graduating with about 60, 70 other people that wants to stay in the college town and get those jobs. So while I was getting my master's degree, I was trying to figure out a full-time job that I could put on my resume that is impressive. Not like, say, I don't want to I work for Wendy's, and have that being my most recent job.
Hmm.
So I kind of expanded my search, and started typing in, like Indeed, like community, or things that kind of tie to recreation, and learned that there's a field for economic development and community development. And there was a nonprofit in Southeast Idaho called the Southeast Idaho Council of Governments. They were hiring for a community development specialist. And so they hired me on as a full-timer, first full-grown, real adult job. And what they do is they work with the communities in Southeast Idaho on community development. And what they do is they help these small communities of 500 people, 1,000 people, get funding to do major infrastructure projects.
Hmm.
So, for example, you may have a community of 500 people that have to do a $2.5 million water project. For a community that small with no major business in town, you got to quadruple, 5 times your utility bills to even pay for that. And if we get told to do that today, Craig, we can't pay utility bills at 5 times what we're paying right now, right?
Right.
So what we do is we go in and we go find grants for these communities. So this one community I'm referring to with the $2.5 million project, we would find $2 million worth of grant funds through Community Development Block Grant, Department of Environmental Quality, Army Corps of Engineers, and that $2.5 million project became a $500,000 project because we found $2 million in grants. And so that's an easier pill to swallow for these small town communities. And so my experience came into grant writing. That's where I had to learn to write grants, work with federal government, state governments to find funding for these projects. And the organization I was with, they wanted to get into the park realm. And that's why they hired me, because they're like, we have a recreation guy. He knows something, a thing or two about parks. And so let's get him on board. And so we help some of the small town communities with new parks. One of my favorites is a small town of American Falls, about 2,000 people. And they had a playground that was just, it should have gone to the grave a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we got a grant to take out the whole playground and build a new one, But with this playground, it's right next to the freeway or next to the highway when you go to Boise, Idaho. Um, we built it to have the tallest slide in all of Idaho at that time. So
Mm.
as you drive on the highway going to Boise, you see right off the highway this tall just building right there with the slide going down, and kind of like that tourist attraction, like catches your eye and it makes you want to pull off and see what that is. And so, but yeah, I worked with getting grants for splash pads for Malad, Idaho, people, their first splash pad in all the county. We got Franklin, Idaho, about 700 people got from the first pickleball court. So got really involved with grant writing, and
Yeah.
so yeah, once I graduated from my master's program in public administration, really want to get back to the parks and rec realm. At that time, I thought I was overqualified for an entry level job, but just barely qualified for an executive level job. And so I started applying for director positions all throughout, and it took me about a year to land my first one in middle of nowhere, Ephraim, Utah. It's about a population of 8,000 people, 2 hours south of Salt Lake City. And they hired me because they do love sports program, which they got covered, but that was it. And they wanted more park infrastructure. And so they hired me for the grant writing.
Right.
And, got in there, and it was funny because the first day I get there, the mayor came up to me, and he said, what's the first grant we're getting? And I was like, well, let me get settled in here a little quick, figure out what we're doing. After a few months, I had to talk to my city manager and ask him, hey, am I the city's grant writer now, or am I the Parks and Rec director? Because, mayor is coming to me with questions on, let's find grants for the power department or public works. And I'm like, this is not my thing, but no, my city manager was great and made sure I focused on parks and recreation and getting that infrastructure in place. So, but yeah, Ephraim was great experience, and was there for about 4 years. And now we moved here to California and been here for about a year now.
Wow, fantastic. And I'd like to, we're definitely going to have to do another show with you on grant writing, because you just have such a level of mastery around there from your private sector experience. And then I guess you've brought that into probably for all your future programs. But I think one thing I wanted to highlight is I think you're doing something really special, leveraging partnerships, and then you'll have a really cool festival that you help turn around. But before our show started, you were telling me about that one when I asked about leverage partnerships, about the farmers market. And I know a lot of cities find themselves in a similar framework that you're getting ready to describe, but maybe you can describe what was going on, then the brainstorming you had, and then how it's doing now on this one specific.
Yeah. So one of the things, so in the city, I'm in the city of Riverbank. We are population about 25,000 people. So we are a rural community. We do not have tons of financial resources or staffing resources. And so we try to be very considerate of how much we spread ourselves out. As being parks and recreation professionals, we have a very hard time of saying no to people. We try to accommodate and, make things work. And so with our community, we have a lot of people asking for different events, programs, and trying to find a way to make things work. And so one of the ways we do that is leveraging our partnerships or leveraging our community relationships. And so one example I told you, Craig, before we hopped on, was a couple of years ago, there was this Tuesday market here in town as a farmer's market type of ordeal downtown. They shut down the streets, vendors, all the whole farmers market experience. It was ran by a nonprofit organization, and they dissolved. And so the city took it on, and of course they dumped it on Parks and Recreation in the middle of summer. And if you know Parks and Recreation, summer is your busiest time. You're focused on your summer programming, your events, your kids are out and about, so they're at the parks more. So you got to work on your maintenance and upkeep of the parks so people can use them. So very busy time for our staff, and they got burnt out, and the quality of the event wasn't that great. And so what we did was we looked at trying to find someone that can take on the role of running the farmers market. So we found a downtown business owner who was passionate for it, and we kind of set to where we had her run the day-to-day operations of the market. So she's in charge of communicating with vendors, setting up, takedown, cleanup, insurance, the whole shebang. And our role, we decided, was we'll take care of all the government red tape. We'll take care of the permitting. We'll take care of closing down the roads for you. And in turn, we told her, you can keep all the money you want. what we want is our name on the event. We want this to be the City of Riverbank Tuesday Market. We want our logos on it. That's our trade-off. And so we looked as a win-win where, we got a great community event that people are recognizing as a city event, but yet we're not doing the blood, sweat, and tears into it. We're not wasting staff time or financial resources to make the event happen. So we did that last year, turned out great. And this year she's running it again, but now she received enough money to make it an official website. She's now getting sponsorship packets out there. And so we're kind of incubating this event to where hopefully in the next little bit she can be self-sustaining, that she can don't have to rely on the city as much, and we have this big great community event that fulfills our mission.
Yeah, this is such a great idea. And because I think the way you framed the problem, you almost described what entrepreneurs are naturally gifted at doing. And then the way you described your part in it, you described what cities are good at doing. And usually cities and entrepreneurs or city government entrepreneurs are kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum. And so the way y'all kind of partner and say, you do what you're good at, and we'll do what we're good at. And like you said, the city gets a great city event that's forward facing, looking like the city. How did y'all, and maybe in general, how do y'all get the word out for events like this or other events? Have y'all started into the social media? How do y'all build community?
Yeah, so I'm very big on, being a millennial. I love my social media. And so I think we talked about this in a pre-screening. Here's my hot take for the show. Maybe, we might get some complaints from people saying we don't want Michael back after this, but I think parks and rec agencies do the worst job at social media or do the worst job at advertising what's going on. How
That's good news for us because we are a media company here to build I think the only media focused company only on parks and recreation. So I'm glad that's music to my ears because I'm like, okay, we're going to be useful. It's so great to feel useful.
Right. No, but but how many times, Craig, do you go on to some random city's Facebook page and all you see is the repetitive sign your kid for baseball post? And it's all it is for like weeks and weeks and weeks. So and like they may say, hey, this park restroom's closed today, and it's just a picture of the restroom that nobody wants to see. So I mean, it's horrible. It's just stagnant.
And even the websites, I'm like, what are these 90s websites?
Exactly. And so, I mean, I think parks and rec professionals need to get a little bit more knowledgeable or comfortable. I've been comfortable with using what today's need is for marketing. And so, and I'm going to put a disclaimer here because I know people are going to look me up now, is I know I'm not the best at it. We are working on it. So if anyone goes to the City of Riverbank Parks and Recreation,
knowing there's a problem is most of the battle.
Right, exactly, right.
Or what's that old saying? When you find yourself in the hole, first thing you do is stop digging.
Right.
And so you just being able to articulate what needs improvement, that's going to bring in the mental energy, the man hours, the resources. But if you're just unaware that it's an issue, then it continues to just fester or get worse. Cities get left behind. And I think the shame here is that you like this farmers market and like this other event that we'll talk about here in a minute. These are phenomenal events that the city puts time and money into putting on. Man, not getting good attendance because the communication component of the city or the communication component of is outdated or just not giving any attention.
Right. No, Craig, you'll be shocked at how many agencies don't even utilize paid advertising on social media. Like I had this conversation with my staff recently. So we do a biannual activity guide where we print out a magazine with all of our activities and programs. That's and we have it available for the public to pick up. And running the cost of it, it's about $14 to $15 per magazine. So we're spending $14 to $15 for that magazine to go to someone's household and stay there. Where a paid social media ad is a couple cents for someone to, they'll see as they're scrolling through their phone every day. And so the cost, if you're trying to say, okay, what's going to be the most cost efficient here, printed media or going towards a social media aspect or, a technology standpoint,
Right.
it, you know, financially makes sense.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and if we can stay on this topic for a minute,
mhm,
social media recently is changing so rapidly. The tools that you can use in social media, AI is taking all things digital by storm, and you need to have your people in charge of social media have access to the AI tools so that they can. It's the difference between if you put a farmer in a field with a mule and a plow, and you want to plow more field, you can either get 10 more farmers, 10 more mules, 10 more plows, or you can get one tractor and he'll
mhm,
outwork 100 farmers with mules. And so that is what the AI tools are. Yes, it's $20 a month here, $50 a month here for the subscriptions to this stuff. But even like our services, we're like $2.99 a month
mhm,
for social media management, and you get like a person dedicated to your stuff, and then you've got a specialist that understands social media and has all the tools, and then you just need somebody that works with the city that says, promote this, here's the images, here's the live shots, I'll take some
right,
pictures, and then they make all this stuff for you, and you're not having to be this social media master.
mhm,
um, and so there's companies like us out there, that can assist you, and it's important that you just, like you said, the cost efficiency of sending digital information. The magazine play is kind of like Blockbuster, and
exactly.
and the modern play is Netflix. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, that's
No,
that.
I agree with that. So kind of give you a little bit more.
Yeah.
You can dive into what Riverbank is. So recently, the city hired its contracted out a social media manager,
Hmm.
and they oversee all of the city's social media. Um, and so one of the things that with our Parks and Rec department, we do a pretty good job of posting consistently and making a new content and making it relevant. But our weakness is, what people love to do today is watch reels. We're not
Yep.
good at making eye-catching reels that make people want to stop and see that. So we've partnered with the social media manager the city's contract with, say, hey, when it comes to Parks and Recreation, we need help making reels. And so one of the cool things, and maybe go back a little bit here is, I think one of the reasons why Parks and Recreation they do a horrible job with social media is they don't tell their story. Again, they
Right.
talk about, hey, again, baseball signups, basketball signups, you got yoga tomorrow, but what is Parks and Recreation? What are we doing to serve? And so one of the cool things we just started, I'm going to butcher this, but back in the day, there's for college basketball when it's on TV, they did a 96 feet with Jay Billis, where they
Mm.
grabbed the commentator and they grabbed the best basketball player before the game, and they walked the court and they just asked questions, just how are you doing, or what's your favorite treat, dessert, and we want to do that with our partners. So we want to highlight who's partnering with the community, what they do, and then just to get to know you. So we started a new segment called Spotlight with P&R, where we bring in a partner with us. We just did one recently with our martial arts instructor that we contracted with. And what we did is we did a lap around the building. In the background, you see all the kids doing martial arts. And we're asking them questions like, what got you into martial arts? Or, trying to get to know you. And so we had our social media manager do that, do the reel for us, make it, edit it, turn into this really nice segment. And with that, kind of go back to the whole leveraging partnerships. We're highlighting these groups, these individuals, and say, hey, we value you,
Hmm.
and so they feel valued. They want to be with us. They want to help us out. But then in turn, the community starts saying, hey, Parks and Rec is not just flyers and trying to get money from you. It's they're people. They
Right.
are working. Um, and
Yeah.
so, that's something that we have, we're working on is, getting those reels because that's what people are consuming nowadays.
Yeah, and it's important to have someone dedicated to media,
Hmm.
in your even if it's just a part-timer, even if it's just one of the hats they wear, if they can just put 2 hours a day into this, and then they need to partner with somebody on the technical side behind the screen that can basically take all the stuff they capture, and so basically the person that works for Parks and Rec has 2 jobs: capture, so go to the farmer's market, take some shorts, take some video, take some pictures, interview a few people, get some content, and then you hand it over to the editing team, and they
Hmm.
package it and slice it and get it ready for the shorts, get it ready for Instagram, get it ready for Facebook, and they can repurpose this content. And so you basically send them a library, of stuff from that event or from the festival or from the fair or from the baseball tournament. And then they can package it and be in charge of distributing it across these platforms. But you do need somebody. I would not recommend outsourcing 100% of your stuff, because who's going to capture the stuff? And really, I think the best person to capture the story, to take the notes, to take the video, is a Parks and Rec professional that works for you.
Right.
And then, like you said, you have to be able to tell the story. And you have such a great story to tell. And speaking of that, I'd love for you to tell us this. Well, wait, this might be a great time to post this one thing that Chris said. Okay, I'm going to play a 2-minute pitch. We are at the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We are a group of digital artists. We're building a media company. We're up to 7 of us right now. I'd like to get at least 20 staffers, just to basically tell the story of Parks and Rec. So how do we fund ourselves? Well, right now I'm funding it just because it's a way for me to give back to an industry that's given me so much. But with all these creatives on staff, you can actually hire us to make you a video, a promo video for your special events, for your city, for your baseball leagues, for your farmers market, for your festival, for your Christmas parade. And it starts as little as $99 a month, and you get unlimited videos where we actually pull all the content from your Facebook or that you capture, and then we make something similar to this. But anyway, I'll play this. It's a 2-minute thing that Chris made. Chris, you did a great job on this, so just give us 1 second.
Good day, Parks and Rec fans. Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
Across the country, parks and recreation departments work hard to build thriving community spaces. But what if no one knows about them? Without the right promotion in this digital age, incredible parks, programs, and events go unnoticed. And that means missed opportunities for families, communities, and local businesses. That's where the Daily Parks and Recreation Show team comes in. We specialize in high-quality promotional videos tailored to promote your local park and recreation areas. Expert social media management to boost online presence and engagements, and tailored marketing strategies for promoting events designed specifically for parks and rec departments. We don't just create videos, we tell stories. Stories that inspire, engage, and bring communities together. By working with us, your department doesn't just get professional social media marketing support. You become part of a bigger movement, showcasing the vital role of Parks and Rec across the nation.
Appearance is critical to improving. It's just don't quit, don't give up, keep pushing. Especially in these park systems, park directors are constantly bombarded with things that they need to overcome and achieve with limited resources, limited staff. And perseverance is definitely in the job description of anyone in Parks and Rec. So like Julie Angie said, perseverance is failing 19 times and succeeding the 20th.
Boost your visibility, engage your community, amplify your impact. Let's make Parks and Rec the heartbeat of every city. Message us today and let's start telling your story.
Yeah, and that was actually when we were looking at what we were going to talk about, I didn't even know that it would go this direction on social media, but I feel like it's such a missed opportunity for cities to very easily tell their community what's going on. And the sad thing is Parks and Recreation provides massive value that's paid for by your local taxes and other stuff. And I hate that it's framed as the best kept secret, but unfortunately it is. So we're going to help do our part to get us out of that category. But can you tell us more about this river park? I know that's something I really wanted you to highlight because you're doing such a great job over there.
Yeah, so the city of Riverbank we have 16 total parks, or scratch that, 17 total parks. We just had a new one just recently built. But we have one that's kind of the gem of the city. It's called Jacob Myers Park. It is this 30-acre regional park that's along the Stanislaus River. What makes it so unique is, has awesome river access. And so you have people that go up to cities a couple miles away, up east, and they float down the river. stop at Jacob Myers. Has a playground, restroom, walking trail, dog park. Has the whole 9 yards. And then people keep on going down the river, and this is this awesome facility that we have here. And so, but yeah, like I said, it's the gem. It's our gem, our baby. When it comes to people talk about parks, they want to make sure this one's top notch.
Yeah.
What's actually cool with it right now is this park was built. The land was actually donated by a very wealthy gentleman here in town a long time ago, Jacob Myers, and so he passed away and donated to the city to develop. And the city's last master plan for this park was done in the early 2000s, and so in the early 2000s they had this whole schematic planned out that's just not feasible in today's times, or it has things that were fantastic ideas back in the early 2000s where today mid 2020 or 2025 we're not really interested in those kinds of recreational amenities anymore. And so we actually got a grant recently with National Park Service to where they're going to help us out update our master plan. So it's a unique grant to where they're not giving us money, but they're actually paying a professional landscape architect company to do the plan with us. So again, the cost savings there, we're not paying for a landscape architect to come in and do community surveys or give us conceptual design. National Park Service is paying for that for us.
Wow. Now tell us about the event itself. Y'all had it. What festival was the wine and cheese or cheese and wine festival?
Cheese and wine festival. So yeah, that's the event of the city. We just did the 40s. Someone's gonna butcher me here. I think we just did the 47th annual Cheese and Wine Festival here in Riverbank. So back 47 years ago, there are tons of cheese and cheese factories and wineries around the area. Fast forward to now, they've all kind of gone away. But the city really wanted to keep that event because that's what they viewed as this is our heritage, this is our community. And over the years, the city would contract the event out to promoters to run the event. And since COVID, it's just been very difficult. The event's gone downhill. Talk to many of the residents or elected officials. In the past year, 2023, they had a promoter and they lost $23,000 on the event.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, just one of the big things they try to do is when you get a promoter there, their focus is the bottom line. They just want to make their money back. And so what the city would do is they would cover the expenses, pay a promoter fee, and try to make the revenue back off the vendors and all that. But with these promoters, they're not local, and they charge maybe, I think it's the last one they had about $300 to $400 per 10 by 10 vendor space. In some communities that's reasonable, but in Riverbank, where we are a low impoverished community, a lot of our local entrepreneurs and small businesses could not afford that. And so we had a lot of businesses from outside the county come in and participate in the event, and smaller attendance, smaller showing. You have people that promote the event that aren't even living here in Riverbank that talk to people, you hang up the flyers, signage, banners. And so it's been very hard on the city, and where people at one point were saying, just cancel the event, move on. And
right. It wasn't a good experience for the community.
Yeah, exactly. So this past year in 2024, I was hired on by City of Riverbank in 2023, or late 2023, right after the.
Did you get to attend that one? The 2023 event?
I did. So the city flew me out to do a kind of a site visit before I got hired, and we planned it that weekend. And so I was able to go out there with my family, walk around. So again, cheese and wine. My wife and my family, we don't drink. And so we walked around there for 20 minutes and we're like, okay, we're pretty much done. We don't have anything to look at anymore. There's not really much to do for the kids.
Right.
So it wasn't that great of an experience. And so after that experience, the city council were like, hey, we have a new Parks and Rec director here. Let's give our Parks and Recreation department a chance to see if they can revive this. And so we talked with our staff, said, hey, do we have capacity to do this? Can we do it? And a lot of kudos to my staff. We set the bar high on, we're going to create more programs, more events for our community. Again, talking about leveraging partnerships and finding ways to where we're not draining ourselves and, running ourselves, wearing ourselves down. And so they took the challenge. And so last year was our first year running it. And we wanted to outline some goals here. What was our mission? What's our goals to kind of revive this event? And the idea was to focus back on Riverbank, focus on the community. And so what we decided to do was, look at our local small businesses, our entrepreneurs. And first thing we did was we drastically cut vendor prices. So the year before it was around $350, $400. We cut it all the way down to $75 a spot and just focused on the local entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, and another reason why we did that too, is back in the day. So back in when it's like the event first came on, they had maybe about 70,000 people attend the event. And it was a big, huge thing. In 2023, they had about 10,000. So major drop off from what it first originally was to what it is now. And so the goal was to bring back the nostalgia, bring back like, hey, we are back to where we were. And what they did back in the day was they had about 7 blocks filled with vendors on both sides of the street. And in 2023, they had maybe a block and a half of vendors. So very small, compact.
Huge difference.
And so the idea was to, if we lower the fee to $75, we're going to get a lot of people chomping at the bit because it's so affordable. Steal of a deal. And so last year we accomplished that goal. We had vendors on both sides of the street going up and down 7 blocks. Obviously, we did not. It would be nice to charge everyone $300 as a spot. We would done really well financially if we did that, and we kind of expected going into it like, hey, we're gonna expect a loss at this event, not $23,000 worth, but the idea is to get this turned around so people have confidence in the event again, and then we start generating revenue later on. And so that was kind of the big change we did there. Was we're going to cut it down to the fee for entrepreneurs. And one thing we noticed is a lot of the small town locals were, out there, with their crafts, with their handmade, handmade items. That's one thing we heard from people is, it's always the same stuff from, it's not homemade. It's all bought for resale,
Right.
And so this past event, we had a lot of homemade, handcrafted items. And then, a couple of other aspects of the event that we really focused on. We do have a community center that does a wine tasting, special wine tasting. You buy tickets for. And in years past, what we've heard from those that attended was it's just a drunk fest. You just go there, no one's monitoring you. There's pouring you as much as you can. You drink as much as you want, and you walk out slammed and tripped on stairs,
Right.
And so we want to turn that around and make it more of an elegant experience. And so we fund a lot more money into decorations, into nice charcuterie boards, nice snacks. And we worked with wineries within about an hour and a half, 2 hour distance from us to come to our wine tasting and share their product, display it. And we did that at no cost. A lot of people say, hey, we're going to charge the winery a couple $100 to be here to, display their product. We just want to say, hey, come here, be a part of the party, and add to that experience. And so we sold tickets for about $35 a piece. People were there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so we had the idea of, we can't go in and, say we have a nicer experience and charge way more when people have a bad taste from past years, And so we kept it $35 this past year, knowing that it's going to be a way better event. And we had people leaving saying, I would have paid $60 and would have been satisfied.
Wow.
And so we're turning that back around. We're getting confidence in the community. And one of the fun things, and kind of tying back to social media here, the She's a Wine Festival has its own Facebook page. I have about 10,000 followers. And anytime you post something like, oh, here's a flyer for the event, you'd have 15 negative comments of, this is the worst event in the world. Do not attend. Like we attended last year, it is the worst. And we kind of took a step back. We're like, hey, we don't want to, add fuel to the fire. So we didn't comment, respond. But after so many comments, you're like, we need to, maybe switch our approach. Right. And so we looked at it as like, let's, take a page out of Wendy's social media and let's comment back a little bit snarky, but professional.
Right.
And So we start commenting back on to these people of, they say this is the worst event ever, with a nice comment that was a little bit snarky and, got people liked our comments. They laughed at them. And anytime we made posts after that, the comments started dying down. The negative comments started dying away.
Yeah.
And so, maybe time back to all this creator. I know we said we could talk for hours on many different topics, but what we did with our comments was we would copy the person's comment saying this is the worst event ever, go to ChatGPT AI tool,
Right.
put it in there and say, make something snarky, but not to where I could get fired from my job.
Right. Not mean.
Yeah. And so it generated a whole response and we'd be like, maybe a little bit more snarky. So we'd type back in, make it a little bit more snarky. And it would come up with a great response. It would copy and paste and put that in the comment. So something that maybe take me 15 minutes to think of something very clever took me 2 minutes to do.
Right.
And so when you go through all these posts with, 20 comments of this is a horrible event, that's like a whole half day right there trying to answer those 20 comments, where it took me maybe 30 minutes.
And I bet you that was good entertainment too for whoever was watching this play out online.
Oh yeah, it worked out. And, we got, people screenshotting and saying to us like, this is hilarious. Like, you guys are doing great. I'm like,
Right.
maybe, that's something, and that's when we tying back into, social media with Parks and Recreation. I know everyone has different philosophies on this, but when people comment on, on a flyer you have or something going on, it's always very professional in the way of, we greatly apologize for this inconvenience. We will, something that's doesn't feel human. Again, we're Parks and Recreation, where we are the most human interacting, government agency in the world.
Right.
So we try to make our responses more personable, even though some of it's coming from an AI, computer. We try to make it sound like, hey, it's not just some, government person in a shirt and tie in the background trying to type something out. It's, trying to be clever here. I know I'm running way off on the event here.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. So that's some of the, one of the things that I think we did well with the advertising of this Cheese and Wine event was, we accepted that it was not great in past years, but, made people say, hey, you come to this year, it's changing. Here's some of the changes we're doing, and make it a little bit more of a flair to it.
Do y'all have a video or something that y'all could use to promote it?
So at that time we didn't. We did not have a video because we didn't want to bring up, recent events that like, oh yeah, look at this small event.
Right.
But again, going back to leveraging. So one of the things I did when I first got here was we established a Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, composed of 5 community members that passionate about Parks and Recreation. And when we picked out our committee, we made sure everyone had a different experience, different walk of life. And so what we did was we had 2 people on our committee. One's a photographer, and one's our now the city social media manager. And they got video and photos of this past event for free for us. Didn't cost us a penny to do, just because that was part of being the committee. Is you need to do some service back to the Parks and Rec department. And so we're able to leverage their talents, their experiences to benefit us.
Have y'all made a video yet? I'd love to make one for y'all if y'all haven't.
For Cheese and Wine, I don't think we have one yet. So yeah, we'll keep you in mind, Craig. We actually met with staff yesterday to talk about what are we doing this year for 2025. So yeah, we'll be in touch for that one. But yeah, we've done other videos for other events. So I'm more than happy to send you kind of what we've had in the past with other events and kind of what we're looking for.
We can help y'all get the word out and then showcase, how you can promote an event just like this Wine and Cheese Festival. But I know we're up on a hard break for you, so you probably got to run the city. You can't sit on Parks and Rec show all day. But I thank you so much, and we're definitely going to get you back on because I think you've got so much stuff to share around grant writing, and then we can continue to talk about this social media stuff. I think that's an important topic. But appreciate you coming on the show, and can't wait to have you back.
No, it sounds good, Craig. Thank you, and appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you again.
Yep. Take care, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Michael Patton over there in Riverbank, California. Great director. We didn't even get to go into his grant writing stuff and how he talks about financial stability. He's just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to that, and still a pretty young guy in Parks and Recreation. He won an award 30 under 30 within our PA. And so I really love how he's approaching the social media component, staying in touch with your community, building different pages for big events. And by the way, if there's anything we can do to help a city out like that, please consider the Daily Parks and Rec show as your social media manager or as your content creator. We will work with you for as little as $99 a month and create videos for you to be able to promote special events, or even install a social media manager embedded within your team so that they can just capture these events and not really have to work so much on the technical side, which, by the way, that landscape is ever changing, and these tools are so advanced. And so it's good to have somebody on the team. What they do full time. So please consider us for that. Also, I'd love to take the chance to encourage everyone to watch. Let me see which video it was. There was a guy. I think it was not my last one, but the one before. Oh, yes. It was Nick Smith from Newaygo, Tennessee. If you are worried about, or if you are always considering cost recovery, so this guy is a master of cost recovery. And here's why. Nick, they have no tax income at all. It's 100% self-funded. And so that means their mindset has to be, we can't fund it if we don't make the money. And I know, this is not the situation of most cities, but however, to see how they frame, how they grow, different ways they've structured some of their contracts, their long-term contracts. He just did a really good job with that. He's now leaving Newaygo, and so they have a job position open as a park and rec director over there. So if you're interested, or you're looking to become a director of Parks and Recreation, please throw your hat in the ring for Newaygo. Reach out to Nick Smith, and I think it's open right now. So they're looking. I think he's only going to be there about another month, but he does a great job explaining how to do cost recovery, how to basically not be so dependent on all your tax revenue or grant money and stuff like that. So I think it was a really good episode. But anyway, wanted to thank all the guests that have come on. Really appreciate all the love and support we've been getting. These shows are just a pleasure to produce, and thank you for all of our digital artists that are making stuff for us. Now, lastly, in addition to social media, we do have one product that we sell. It's an LED light that I manufactured long ago when I had a manufacturing company, but now I just use this as one of our major sources to continue to pay for our digital artists and to put on the Daily Parks and Rec show and attend some of these events and to try to really capture what goes on at the state level events. And so it's mostly funded by a simple little LED light that is very robust. My background was in making explosion-proof lights, very industrial, heavy-duty lights. But this little tough sucker is like a workhorse, and you can put it anywhere. You can buy one and light up a little parking lot, or you can buy 40 of them and light up an entire baseball field. This thing lasts 100,000 hours. It has got a minimum of a 10-year warranty, and it's super simple. It's basically, you take your old fixture down, you put your new one up. They start at $850. So to redo a whole field of 40 lights, you're under, $35,000 to $40,000, and you've got world-class LED lights. We also work with another company that you can switch these lights off and on with a very simple, easy to use mobile device from your bedroom at night on a Sunday when the coach leaves the lights on. You can also program them when to come on, when to come off. And so that's another component that's really simple. They're made for neighborhood parks. They're made to fit inside of your maintenance budget. You hand this directly to your maintenance staff and says, hey, instead of going swap out bulbs and ballasts, which are probably going to cost you $400 to $500 to $600 for bulbs and ballasts, the biggest expense is actually that man and that lift, the electrician that you might have to hire, and that huge lift that needs to reach, 60, 70, 80 feet in the air. Why not just give him something that he'll never have to go back and replace? These draw about a third of the electricity, and I have installed thousands of these throughout the country. City of Dallas has been using them forever as one of our bigger clients. So now, this is not exactly what we do. It's just my personal background, so we can leverage that. You can just switch your buying habits into something that's proven, that's working, and you get to fund our first media company inside Parks and Recreation so that we can raise awareness of what's going on in this industry. Um, we raise awareness around the career path so we can get more high schoolers considering Parks and Recreation as a career path, because man, this is just a story needs to be told, and we are busy telling it. And I can't wait till we really, get past our 100th episode, which this is episode 66. So we are churning through it. All of our social media is starting to just grow. So really appreciate all the support. If you're still listening, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's our newest little venture. We're really creating a digital library. And so before we can go live on YouTube, we need 1,000 subscribers. I think we're above 100 that we just got it. But this is only a month old YouTube channel. So if you're listening, please find us on YouTube, the Daily Parks and Rec Show, and like and subscribe and comment what we can do better. Also, there is a playlist inside our YouTube channel for specifically, there's 4 videos for career. So if you're a Parks and Rec director and you have high school students and they're working in your concession stands, or there's a time where you have a little orientation for new employees coming on, and I'm sure most of you know this, but I didn't realize this, makes sense, that Parks and Recreation typically is the largest employer of high schoolers in a community. And so that was the case for me. My first job ever was in Parks and Recreation, cutting grass for the summer on baseball fields. And yes, we had a little orientation program where we sat down, a bunch of high schoolers that were going to weed eat and cut grass. And Mr. Raggi, just gave us, welcome to the Parks and Rec. Here's what you're going to do. As the first time I ever had to get a pay, I never got a paycheck before. That was my first paycheck. This is a time where you can press play on one of our videos and it plants the seed. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and play one of those and then we'll close with our other things. So this is one of them. Let's see, career. Chris's was good. Hannah's good. Catherine, let's go with Hannah's. I like Hannah's. So we created several of these. This one's 1 minute and 8 seconds. This is something you can press play in front of high schoolers that are especially juniors, because a lot of that's the time period that you're thinking sophomores are good too. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? Where am I going to go to college? Once I pick a degree, which universities have a reputable program in that? So what we want to do is plant the seed, consider Parks and Recreation. Oh, and by the way, here's some of the universities that have great programs. This little explainer might plant that seed, have them ask more questions, and maybe they'll be coming back to that director and say, hey, I'm considering this. What do you recommend? So forth and so on. You get it. Okay, so here's one of them.
Hi there. Have you ever stopped to think about the magic of parks? The laughter of kids on a swing, the joy of family picnics, or even the peaceful moments on a hiking trail? What if you could be the one creating those moments? Imagine a career where you get to design vibrant spaces, host exciting events, and protect the beauty of nature for everyone to enjoy. Parks and Recreation isn't just a job, it's a chance to leave your mark on the world and create memories that last a lifetime. Did you know that colleges across the U.S. offer amazing degrees to help you launch a career in Parks and Recreation? From urban planning to environmental conservation, these programs equip you to make a real impact in your community. Parks and Recreation professionals across America are building legacies and transforming lives. Now it's your turn. Want to know more? Head to our YouTube channel, The Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we share stories, advice, and inspiration from those shaping our parks and communities. Don't miss out. Follow us, subscribe, and join the movement.
Love it. Great job, Hannah. Like that video. All right, so those are available on YouTube. Y'all can use me. Don't need my permission. I'm giving y'all permission to use them to bring kids closer to this industry at an age when they're deciding what they want to do with the rest of their life. And we're going to close it out with Chris's video on how you can buy one of our LED lights to support the channel. please just consider buying one light, install it. When you see these lights, I promise you, when you hand them to your electrician, they're going to be blown away by the advanced cooling technology. It's called a pin technology we have on the back. It's super light. It's also a very well constructed fixture. You get into it for $850 shipped and everything. And once you put it up, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is going to work so well for our neighborhood parks and stuff like that. And primarily, you will give us fuel to build this media company and tell the story of Parks and Recreation, which we will be telling shortly in Texas at the Traps Convention, starting all next week. If you are there and you're attending, please stop by the booth, say hello to me, consider hopping on the show and just giving us at least do a big solid to the convention, and encourage people to bring their staff and themselves, because these state associations are so critical for the networking, to meet guys like Michael, to meet guys like Nick, and to kind of pick their brains. I can't think of a better person than Michael to talk about a special event that's maybe starting to flounder and you want to bring it back up. There's a lot of success stories out there, and Texas puts on one of the best events in the country when it comes to Parks and Recreation. I've gone to, maybe 6 of them in my career, and it's just super well done. So hopefully I can see y'all there. If you spot me again, just come say hello. Tell me what's going on, and hopefully we can have you on the show. So we'll close out with Chris's outro video about our LED lights. Love you guys. Signing off, Craig LeBlanc signing off for the Daily Parks and Rec Show, 12 noon Eastern. We will be back here again on Monday, and we've got an exciting lineup. We got a show every day next week, and actually we'll probably be airing an additional 15 to 20 shows live from Traps Convention. So see y'all there.
When you invest in our high-performance LED sports arena lights, you're not just upgrading your facilities, you're helping us illuminate the untold stories of parks and recreation communities. Every purchase directly supports the Daily Parks and Rec Show, a media platform on a mission to celebrate the heart and soul of our local parks and programs. From after-school activities to summer leagues, these spaces shape lives, and their stories deserve to be told. Why your support matters. Capturing community impact. Your contribution helps us assemble a talented team of digital artists, storytellers, and filmmakers to create compelling videos, articles, and short films that spotlight how Parks and Rec programs change lives. Sharing untold stories. From a child's first home run to lifelong friendships forged on the court, we'll document these priceless moments and share them with the world. Inspiring the next generation. By highlighting the joy, inclusivity, and opportunities found in our parks, we foster a deeper appreciation for these vital community spaces. Light up arenas, brighten futures. Your choice to install LED sports arena lights isn't just a smart investment in energy efficiency and performance, it's an investment in stories that deserve to be told. Be part of the story. Take action today. Purchase LED sports arena lights and help us shine a spotlight on the heartwarming stories that define our parks and communities. Contact us now to learn more about our products and how your support fuels the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Together, we'll shine a light on the moments that matter most.